Conman, can I also get your number? So I'll what?
Good afternoon, everyone. We kindly request you to be seated.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. We kindly request you to be seated and ensure that your phones are on silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. What can be imagined can be achieved. These words of wisdom spoken by revered founder Shri N.J. Yasaswy reflect his vision and leadership, inspiring us all. A very warm and pleasant afternoon to our distinguished guests, respected senior director, esteemed faculty members, and dear students. It is my honor to welcome you all to the 14th Shri N.J. Yasaswy Memorial Lecture. To grace this special occasion, we are honored to have Mr. Harish Bhat, former brand custodian of Tata Sons and best-selling author, as our chief guest, and Mr. Ashish Sharma, partner at Deloitte, as our guest of honor. I now invite Mr. Ashish Sharma, Professor Emeritus Colonel Ram Gopal, Director, Corporate Relations, Professor Soumitra Samadar, Dean and Academic Coordinator, Dr. Anupama, to the podium to kindly step forward for the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. It will be accompanied by the Saraswati Vandana to invoke the blessings of Goddess Saraswati.
या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रामृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Thank you, Soumya, for the lovely rendition.
On behalf of IBS Pune and the entire ICFAI group, I request Senior Director Professor Jyoti Tilak to offer a floral tribute to our beloved founder, Shri N.J. Yasaswy. Thank you, ma'am. I will now take a moment to revisit the inspiring life journey of Sri N.J. Yasaswy through a short video presentation.
This film will take you through the story of an extraordinary visionary. We pay tribute to one of the most resplendent intellectuals India has ever seen. The iconic N.J. Yasaswy, the man who founded the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India, ICFAI, and ICFAI Universities and ICFAI Group of Institutions. He leaves behind him a huge network of educational institutions that will stand testimony to the adage, what can be imagined can be achieved. Born on 9th February 1950 to Father Sri Nanduri Venkateshwar Rao, a school teacher, and Srimati Seetamma Garu, a homemaker, the quest of knowledge, the zeal to excel, was instilled in him right from his childhood. The spark of brilliance was evident in him right from his school days. Graduating from the Andhra University in 1969 with a BCom degree, he topped the university. In his CA Inter in the year 1971, he achieved near impossible scores as first ranker and repeated the academic feat in CA Final in 1973. Simultaneously, he bagged the first rank in ICWA Inter in 1970 and ICWA Final in 1972. This spectacular track record of academic achievements reached its zenith when he was given the Basu Foundation Award for the Best Student of the Year from both the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India in 1972 and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in 1973. A first-of-its-kind achievement in the country, an unparalleled performance which made his parents and well-wishers immensely proud. Enlightening journey as a father, husband, and mentor crossed all boundaries as the most rewarding and enriching experience. Weekends at the NJY home was always known for his warm welcome to his circle of friends and associates. There would be a fruitful exchange of knowledge and fun, delicious home-cooked food, and engaging battle of wits with his mother. The grand old lady would voice her policy of the spiritual journey as all-encompassing, while her son would try to churn out hundreds of conversations why hard work and commitment to basic issues were more important than spirituality. N.J. Yasaswy was fortunate to have lived a fulfilling and supremely satisfying family life. Thereafter, Mr. Yasaswy joined as a faculty member with Administrative Staff College of India in 1974. N.J. Yasaswy spurned an offer to teach at the prestigious University of Singapore's Accountancy Department, as he informed Professor Bhanoji Rao Garu that he felt that he had some important contribution to make in India. In 1981, he started his consultancy firm Yasaswy Management Associates Private Limited, and from then onwards there was no looking back. It was in 1984 that he started the ICFAI Society. In 1995, he was instrumental in setting of ICFAI business schools across 8 locations in India. He was charismatic, a great motivator, never tired of talking about ideas, their execution, and delegating projects ably to people according to their strengths. He showed his prowess in corporatizing education and created a sterling model out of it.
If you are a man in a hurry, it is not the business to be in. And what I mean to say is that it takes at least 100 years before a university is really recognized in a true sense. The grandfather should study there, then the father should study there, then the child should study there, then the child's child should study there.
A pioneer, a leader, and innovator, NJY created Andhra Pradesh's first private placement industry, first leasing deals, first stock market newsletters, first management consultancy, and the earliest traces of knowledge society. He loved knowledge, science, and new ideas that changed the world. Yet, he remained humble, always working with a motivation to do something different, to make a difference to the world of business, education, business education, and publications. N.J. Yasaswy was, however, not one to court publicity. His favorite retreat was his corner chair, surrounded by his books and photos in plot number 19 Nagarjuna Hills, from where he generated ideas that changed the educational scenario. And his worthy emissaries emulated his ideals, touching the peaks of success and turning their mentors' dreams into vibrant realities. In the last 2 years, he started several new projects. Turning to his roots, giving his mother tongue and traditions a fillip, he ventured to promote Carnatic music, established B.Ed colleges, and also a unique initiative called C.P. Brown Academy, which is today successfully bringing timeless works of Telugu arts and literature within reach of the current generation. NJY achieved so much at just 61. For his unrivaled contributions to education, Shri Yasaswy truly deserves a place in the history of the business scenario of Andhra Pradesh and Indian education in general for his life's work. Thousands of employees of the ICFAI group and hundreds of employees, including people, grew like saplings under the banyan tree called ICFAI, which spawned the biggest service sector boom in education, research, publication, and policy making. Some of India's most successful fund managers, analysts, bankers, journalists, software and management professionals, thought leaders, and thinking elite have some connection or the other with ICFAI. Either they worked at ICFAI or they studied at ICFAI and its associate wings. The causes he expounded were noble, and it is the duty of his protégés to carry them forward. This is the greatest tribute one can pay to him, standing as living testimonies of his life's mission.
Such an inspiring journey of our visionary founder. I would now request our Senior Director, Professor Jyoti Tilak, to address the gathering.
I'm extending a warm welcome to respected dignitaries in person and those who have logged in virtually. Thank you for being here. It is with a lot of awe and humility that we remember our visionary and pioneering founder who dared to promote higher education in the private sector in a time when the Indian economy was still a decade away from introducing liberalization, privatization, and globalization. a great teacher, an institution builder, a visionary and a genius who was years ahead of his time, Mr. Yasaswy, we are going to call him NJY fondly, set up the ICFAI group in 1985 without government SOPs or institutional funding. 25 years and more, rarely ago, decisions on syllabus, content, curriculum were made by inherited traditions rather than intelligent discussions. Education was standalone, disconnected from reality. Business schools were by far few and elitist. NJY anticipated that the few and existing business schools would not be able to meet the needs of growing industries and changing times. He challenged conventional wisdoms, systems which did not allow growth of young people. He offered young people an opportunity to discover and develop themselves through education by restructuring methodologies, introducing newer ideas, and help them realize their full potential. For this, he became instrumental in building several business schools, universities, reflecting his commitment to scaling up educational infrastructure to match managerial talent requirements of industry. He encouraged the creation and design of alternatives that would help them to keep pace with changing times, technologies, and even geographies. Above all, he reminded educators that performance of any educational institution would be judged by market acceptance and competition above everything else. The ICFAI Business School alumni, a family of 70,000 plus individuals, have happily shouldered personal and professional responsibilities. They are testimony to the impact that NJY's vision has made to their destinies. On a personal note, when I was appointed as faculty with IBS, I, along with many more faculty who joined at that time, underwent a month-long induction program at Hyderabad, with the first session of the day beginning at 8 a.m. sharp. This probably also made us realize what students go through when they are supposed to report on time. Case studies, reports, articles, conference proceedings, presentations, quality of textbooks, even content creations, evaluation methodologies, all this were discussed threadbare at length daily till very, very late in the day without breaks. And each time we would see him, it would be like as if he's come for the first session. And we would be dead tired, but he was very, very inspiring because the intelligent conversation that would come through would be very, very stimulating. An engaging teacher, his classes were interactive, and each class would start with a set of stimulating and probing questions. We used to get glimpses of his razor-sharp mind through narrations and with class discussions. He would randomly ask one of us, what have you been reading of late in your area of study? What do you think will be the impact of, and he would mention a latest policy measure. Do you think you could write a summary or an article or maybe a case study which highlights the need for something that industry needs? This will help in improving our students' understanding of industry landscape. So at the end of it, whatever he was suggesting was with this intent to improve student understanding of industry landscape. He enabled faculty and people with the means and tools to build their teaching careers, to break from the past known norms and methods, to keep learning and sharpening our tools or trade constantly. As a humble tribute, I distinctly remember that I sat through and learned how to make PPTs, and I was very excited when he also said you should also know when not to use the PPTs or how not to use the PPTs. As our humble tribute to his vision and values, we remember his motto of meritum ethicus and appreciate our opportunity to shape some futures, learn from our mistakes, and enable individuals to pursue their dreams and grow. We had seen glimpses of NEP 2020. He had seen glimpses of NEP 2020 more than 20 years ago in his dreams. Most of what is being recommended today has already been done through his recommendations and through the steps taken by IBS. There's been no industry, we had no industry exposure. Some of us, faculty who moved straight from academics into teaching, had no industry or low industry exposure, to which he made sure that we do a hand-holding of our students through the 14-week summer internship, visit companies, meet people, try to contact and connect with industry, understand their requirements, and mold our sessions so that learning becomes easy for our students. In this, and continuing with his suggestions, we trust we are doing what Mr. N.J. Yasaswy would have wanted all of us to do. I humbly pay my tribute on behalf of IBS Pune, the staff, students, and also the dignitaries who are present here, a tribute to Shri N.J. Yasaswy. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful words. It is now my pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Harish Bhat, former brand custodian of Tata Sons. Mr. Harish Bhat has worked with the Tata Group for 38 years. Over this long period, he has held many senior roles in the group, including as brand custodian of Tata Sons, managing director and CEO at Tata Global Beverages, and chief operating officer of the watches and jewelry businesses at Titan. After his superannuation last year, Mr. Bhat is now serving as a director on the boards of Tata companies, including Trent, Infinity Retail, Chroma, and Tata Starbucks. An avid marketeer, Mr. Bhat has helped nurture and grow many iconic brands of the Tata Group, such as Tanishq, Titan, Fast Track, Tata Tea, and Chakra Gold Tea. In his most recent role, he led the development and growth of Tata, which is India's most valuable brand. In 2022 and 2023, Forbes listed him as one of the top 10 most influential chief marketing officers in the world. Mr. Bhat has also played a key role in strategic initiatives such as the acquisition of Tetley Tea by the Tata Group and the turnaround of the jewelry business at Titan. Mr. Bhat is a graduate of BITS Pilani and IIM Ahmedabad. In 1987, he won the IIM Ahmedabad Gold Medal for Scholastic Excellence. In 2017, he received the Distinguished Alumnus Award for BITS Pilani. Mr. Bhat writes extensively. He has 8 published books to his credit, including 4 national bestsellers. His latest book, titled Doing the Right Thing, explores learnings from the life of Mr. Ratan Tata. He has been a popular columnist for the Hindu Business Line and Mint newspapers. LinkedIn has selected him as one of their top voices in India. Sir, we now look forward to hearing your inspiring Tata experience and learning from it. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope I am audible. Can one of you tell me whether I am audible or not? Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir. You are perfectly audible.
Respected Mrs. Shobharani Nanduri, Mr. V.R. Shankara, member of the Board of Governors of the ICFAI Society, Dr. R.R. Reddy, registrar and member of the ICFAI Foundation, Dr. Sudhakar Rao, director branding of the ICFAI Group, Professor Jyoti Tilak, Senior Director and Campus Head of IBS Pune, Professor Soumya Mishra, who has interacted with me extensively to enable this lecture, members of the faculty, staff, student, distinguished guests who are gathered here. It is indeed my privilege to deliver the 14th N.J. Yasaswy Memorial Lecture today. I say it is a privilege because of more than one reason. Mr. N.J. Yasaswy, as we saw in the video which was played just now, has been an inspiring figure, an institution builder, a reformer, a teacher, and a visionary. From his vision has emerged the ICFAI group of institutions, including IBS, which are so well known and respected across our country today. I have had the opportunity of visiting more than one campus of IBS in the past, and I have always come away impressed with the academic standards as well as the philosophy that underpins your institution. Through these institutions that he has established, Professor N.J. Yasaswy has truly left behind a lasting imprint on India's academic and cultural landscape. But this is not the only reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I consider it a privilege to speak here today. It is also my privilege because Professor N.J. Yasaswy was my teacher when I was studying for my MBA at IIM Ahmedabad from 1985 to 1987. He taught us corporate finance in those days. You know, he used to come from Hyderabad to Ahmedabad and teach us corporate finance. I was, of course, very impressed with his expertise in finance. But what stood out for me was the clarity of his thought. He was very, very clear in terms of what he wanted to say. And most importantly, for a person like me who was an engineer, who had no idea of corporate finance, Professor Yasaswy was able to teach us complex concepts of finance in very simple terms. So if I learned how to read a P&L account well, read a balance sheet well, look at corporate financial analysis well, a lot of it I would owe to what Professor Yasaswy taught us in those classrooms. Not just his expertise, he was a very modest man, and he spent a lot of time with any student, including me, who went up to him to ask for his help or ask for his further inputs. I will never forget the education that he imparted to us, and I would like to pay tribute to him, not only as an institution builder, but also as a teacher and a professor. And finally, it is my privilege to speak at IBS because my wife, Dr. Veena Bhat, has been associated with IBS for 15 years now. In fact, she continues to be a visiting professor at IBS Bangalore in the areas of information systems and data science. So for all these reasons, it is my privilege here to deliver the N.J. Yasaswy Memorial Lecture. Let me now come to the subject of my lecture, ladies and gentlemen. Building purpose-driven organizations. What have been my learnings from the Tata experience? And I will talk for the next 20-25 minutes about the building of purpose-driven organizations. I have been part of the Tata Group for 38 years now. I joined the group in 1987, and it has been my only job after I have completed college. I have also written extensively about Tata history. So today I will speak both as a business manager who has run Tata businesses like Tata Tea or Tanishq or Titan, and also as a part-time historian who has written about the Tata Group. But let me begin with the history first. I don't know how many of you are aware how old the Tata Group is. The Tata Group is today 157 years of age. We were established in 1868 by Jamshedji Tata, a merchant of Mumbai. You know, this is remarkable if you look at it for one simple reason. The average age of a Fortune 500 company today is 40 years, which means in 40 years, companies grow, they prosper, and they die. The average age of a middle-sized company is 16 to 17 years. There are very, very few companies that you can count on your fingertips which have completed 100 years of existence. So to complete 150 years of existence is remarkable. And not just complete that existence, but continue to grow from strength to strength. 100 years back, the Tatas were India's largest organization, business organization. Today, they continue to be the country's largest organization, business organization. There would be very, very few parallels to this anywhere in the world. And I would, ladies and gentlemen, like to mention that in my view, one of the key reasons for this has been the Tata's sense of purpose. Let me start with a small story. You know, when Jamshedji Tata established the Tata Group in 1868, The first company that he established was a textile mill. It was called the Empress Mills, and it was located in Nagpur, which is the center of the cotton growing areas of India. Now, the Empress Mills soon became the most profitable enterprise of its kind in the India of the 1870s and 1880s. Within the first 20 years of its existence, it had repaid its shareholders many times over. It was known as a very, very profitable enterprise. But that is not the reason I want to narrate that story to you today. What Jamshedji Tata did in those mills was extraordinary. By the 1880s, he had introduced accident insurance for workers in those mills. By the 1890s, he had introduced a pension plan for workers who had completed more than 20 years or 25 years in the mills. And in 1901, for the very first time in India, he introduced in the Empress Mills something that all of us see on our salary slips every month. For the first time in India, the concept of the Provident Fund. Now, when all these were introduced by the 1920s, the Empress Mills had a creche for the children of working women. The directors of the Empress Mills contributed money to the founding of a girls' school in Nagpur, which continues to be a very, very well-reputed school until today, the J.N. Tata School in Nagpur. There were gymnasia that were built within Empress Mills for the physical exercise of people. Night classes were started to educate workers. And people went up to Jamshedji Tata and asked him, why are you wasting all this money on worker welfare? This money belongs to your shareholders. So in 1895, Jamshedji Tata made a speech, the only recorded speech I've read so far of Jamshedji Tata, where he said, I don't think we are more philanthropic or more generous than anyone else. We have set up our business on simple, straightforward business principles. We know that our wealth belongs to our shareholders, but we also know that the foundation of our prosperity in the future will be the welfare of our workers and the welfare of our community. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the simple philosophy with which Jamshedji Tata started the Tata Group. And in his mind, workers and communities spread out to be the nation. And he said, I would like to establish an enterprise where the community, the nation, is at the center and not just another stakeholder. All the enterprises that he set up thereafter were keeping the national interest in mind. Jamshedji Tata himself set up enterprises like Tata Steel, the hydroelectric project, which is now Tata Power, the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, and all these things he did because he thought that India required that particular institution. Let me come to the story of steel. Jamshedji Tata wanted to establish steel in India because he thought India should not depend on Europe for all its steel imports. India did not have an integrated steel plant at that time. So what did he do? He had the money by then because Empress Mills was already a very profitable enterprise. But India did not have modern steel making technology at that time. This did not deter Jamshedji Tata. He went all the way to the United States of America, to Chicago, to Pittsburgh, to New York, to understand how steel could be made in India. People tried to dissuade him. People said, India is an underdeveloped country. We don't have the technology to make steel. You're just putting good money after bad. But he went from place to place, and eventually he was told, if you wish to put up a steel plant in India, then you have to get the best engineer from America to come and do it for you. His name is Charles Perrin. He is based in New York. So Jamshedji Tata, who was an unknown man at that time, relatively unknown, he goes to New York and he knocks on the door of Charles Page Perrin. And Charles Page Perrin later says, he has narrated this story, he says, the strange man walked into my office and he said, my name is Jamshedji Tata. Are you Charles Page Perrin? And Perrin said, yes. So Jamshedji Tata asks him, my name is Jamshedji Tata. I want to give my country, India, its first steel plant. Are you willing to come to India with me? I want to do this for my countrymen. Are you willing to come to India with me? I will fund you. Are you willing to help me to put up India's first steel plant? Charles Perrin says, I was flabbergasted. Here is a man I did not know from Adam coming into my office and asking me to come all the way to a country which I had never seen before or never visited before. But he said, when I looked up at Jamshedji Tata, I could see fire in his eyes. I could see the fire of patriotism in his eyes. And I could see the kindness in his eyes as well. He said, when I saw that combination of fire and kindness, such a man, how could I tell him no? And Charles Page Perrin came to India with Jamshedji Tata and helped Tata put up what is today known as Tata Steel in Jamshedpur in India. But the core reason why Jamshedji Tata did this, ladies and gentlemen, was the singular purpose of the organization. He wanted a company which could contribute to nation building in India. And Tata Steel since then has been a flagship company, not only of the Tata Group, but of the country itself, producing, very, very proudly producing Swadeshi steel for Indian needs. Ladies and gentlemen, if that was Jamshedji Tata's core purpose of nation building, that also translated when he put up the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. He thought India should have its own institute of higher learning in science and technology. The British did not agree with him. Remember, we were still under British rule at that time. Lord Curzon actually said, where will the students come from? Where will the teachers come from? Who will have the money to pay fees at the Indian Institute of Science? They tried to dissuade him. But Jamshedji Tata left half his wealth to the creation of the Indian Institute of Science. The Maharaja of Mysore gave him the land required. And that is how IISc came up. It is still ranked amongst the top 100 best science universities in the world today and the top ranked institution in India. But this concept of nation building through industry has thereafter stayed with the Tata Group for the past 150 years. And let me explain how. If Jamshedji Tata put up Tata Steel in the late 1890s and early 1900s, by 1932, the Tata Group's chairman at that time, J.R.D. Tata, said that aviation is very important for the country. India was a large country, so you could not just travel by road or rail. He said civil aviation is important. Once again, the government did not back him. So taking a risk by itself, the Tata Group decided to establish Tata Airlines, which later became Air India. In the 1950s, J.R.D. Tata felt that commercial vehicles are important, essential to the backbone of transporting large amounts of goods across the nation. That led to the foundation of the commercial vehicles business of Tata Motors. And you can see Tata trucks across all the roads today with the Tata logo, but that was the foundation on which it was built. 1968, well before the IT revolution came to the shores of India, the Tata Group had established Tata Consulting, foreseeing that computers would become very, very important for the Tata Group and for the nation overall. Go a few years into the future. By the 1980s, the Tatas had launched branded salt, Tata Salt, with iodine added, so that iodine could take care of the health needs of the country, because many, many people in India at that time suffered from a lack of iodine, leading to health issues like goiter. By the 1990s, Ratan Tata was now the chairman of the Tata Group, and Ratan Tata wanted to give India its first indigenous car. Until then, the cars you saw on the roads of India were designed in Japan, which was the Maruti Suzuki car, or designed in Korea, which were the Hyundai cars. But Ratan Tata said, why not a car made out of Indian parts, made for Indian families, manufactured and designed in India? And that led him, when he said that, people did not believe him. Once again, they said India is not technologically advanced enough to make its own car. And many people were critical of Mr. Ratan Tata, saying that this project is going to be a failure. But he took up that project in Tata Motors. He made the Tata Indica happen. He trained workers to manufacture it. I have interviewed many of those workers and seen how they still cry with joy when they think of how they assembled the first Tata Indica. He didn't have the money to get a manufacturing plant which was first hand, so they actually scoured the world, found a disused Nizam plant in Australia, disassembled it, brought it to Pune, and reassembled the plant in Pune, in your city today, from where this session is being hosted. And that is how the Tata Indica was born. There were initial quality issues, but eventually it went on to become a huge success. And by 2001, 2002, it was the fastest selling car on the roads of India and had been declared the best car in its category. But it also gave India its first indigenous car, leading to an ecosystem coming up, leading to jobs being created, automotive part manufacturers coming up in Pune and around many areas where you're located. And that was why Ratan Tata felt that giving India its own car was very important. I can go on and on, ladies and gentlemen, like steel and airlines and commercial vehicles and IT services and branded salt and branded jewelry and wristwatches for India. And now coming into the current 2024, last year, when the chairman of Tata Sons, Mr. Chandrasekaran, announced that the Tatas would make a large investment in semiconductors and electronics. One of the key reasons is that this is a national need. Semiconductors today are present in virtually every device that we need, that we use. And therefore, a country which has prowess in semiconductors is going to do very well in the future. And so you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that over the past 120, 130 years, what the Tatas have done is chosen to get into businesses which have been at the confluence of great opportunity and national priority. And therefore, the purpose of nation building, which Jamshedji Tata had put in place, has continued over this long period of time. Leader after leader, whether it's Jamshedji Tata or Dorabji Tata or JRD Tata or Ratan Tata or now Mr. Chandrasekaran, leader after leader have taken forward nation building as a purpose of the Tata Group. But even as this voyage of industry for nation building continued, there was one other important development. Jamshedji Tata's sons transferred their wealth to public charitable trusts called the Tata Trusts. As a result, the ownership of the Tata Group passed from the family to charitable trusts. And even till today, 66% of our parent company, Tata Sons, is owned by the Tata Charitable Trust. What does this mean? This means that 66% of the profits earned by the Tata Group through the dividends issued by Tata Sons flow eventually to the Tata Trusts. Now, the trusts have used this money to build some of India's finest institutions. The Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai was India's first cancer hospital. Even until today, of course, it is managed by the Government of India, by the Department of Atomic Energy, but 70% of patients are treated free of charge. The Tata Cancer Hospital at Kolkata. Today, there are many more cancer hospitals coming up across the country, from the northeast to the south, that the Tata Trusts have helped to create across the country. So healthcare has been a major area where the Tata Trusts have contributed to nation building. Similarly, in the area of education, the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, the National Institute of Advanced Studies. So all these, you can see that it's not only industry for nation building, but the Tatas have also contributed philanthropy for nation building. The Tata Trusts have implemented projects at scale to drive digital literacy, to help in the National Water Mission, to help in disaster relief. Think of the COVID-19 time that all of us underwent just 2 or 3 years ago. In March 2020, when India came under a national lockdown because of COVID-19, one of the first announcements made by Mr. Ratan Tata and Mr. Chandrasekaran together was that the Tata Group would pledge 1,500 crores to the fight against COVID-19. I felt very proud that day because the world was shut down. I was shut down in my home, and yet you had the chairman emeritus and the chairman of the group talk about 1,500 crores being pledged to the fight against COVID-19. This amount was used for the construction of several thousand hospital rooms, for personal protective equipment, ventilators, meals for migrants. At the peak of the second wave of the pandemic, the Tata Group was contributing 10% of the country's oxygen requirements. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you closely examine the core purpose of the Tata Group, it is nation building. Nation building through industry. I've talked about steel and airlines and salt and cars and semiconductors. and nation building through philanthropy, the fight against COVID-19, the cancer hospitals, the educational institutions which have been established, and so forth. Of course, all this is only possible because Tata companies earn profits through their businesses. You need to first create that wealth for you to be able to give that wealth back to charity, back to philanthropy, back to the people. As J.R.D. Tata once famously said, what comes from the people goes back to the people again and again. But this is the history of the Tata Group. What are the lessons we can learn from this? What are the lessons from how we can learn about how the Tata Group has taken forward its purpose? What does it mean to be a purpose-driven organization? I would like to put forward to you, ladies and gentlemen, 4 or 5 lessons that you can keep in mind about purpose-driven organizations. If you want to create a purpose-driven organization, the first thing that you should do, in my view, is to define a purpose for this organization. And let this purpose be of a higher order than financial profits alone. Many of you young students are going to be part of organizations in the future. You are going to lead organizations in the future. So when you think about purpose, if an organization has purpose, it gives meaning to the organization. And that purpose need not be nation building. Nation building is the purpose of the Tata Group. Different organizations may have a different sense of purpose. For instance, another organization that I greatly respect, Amul. Amul was set up with the purpose of transforming the lives of dairy farmers. And look at how it has done it so splendidly over the years. Take my own alma mater, BITS Pilani, which is an academic institution. It was established by G.D. Birla with the purpose of providing excellent and well-rounded education in science and technology and other areas of scholarship. But its purpose was to prepare students to serve the nation and the world. So every organization which wants to be purpose-driven has to first and foremost define what its clear purpose is, just like Jamshedji Tata defined nation building as the purpose of the Tata Group. And the purpose can be very simple. A small bakery somewhere can say that my purpose is to serve the best bread to the community around. So it's not that your purpose has to be a grand purpose, but purpose has to be different from just making profits. The second thing, ladies and gentlemen, after defining your purpose, is that the purpose should be then defined by your actions and not by a speech like the one I am giving you. It is the actions of the organization which reflect its purpose, which say whether it's being true to the purpose. For instance, if nation building is the purpose of the Tata Group, then the group has to demonstrate this constantly through what it does. The group has to constantly nurture industries which are important for nation building. The group has to constantly, through the Tata Trust, contribute to the nation through philanthropy. That is how the Tata Group has made nation building its purpose. It's not just through what Jamshedji Tata said. So it's actions that define how the purpose of an organization evolves. If the prosperity of farmers is the purpose of Amul, this is embedded in Amul's structure and ownership. It is also reflected in the new businesses that they enter. If actions don't reflect the purpose, then purpose will merely remain a poster on the wall, and that is of no use to any of us. The third thing I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that purpose should be kept alive across generations. Purpose is like a mission. It is never ending. There cannot be an end to nation building. Nation building will continue as long as we have nations on the face of this planet. There cannot be an end to ensuring excellent and well-rounded education, which was the purpose of BITS Pilani. That is an ongoing purpose which will continue. Now, if purpose has to continue across many, many years, then every subsequent generation of leadership has to be genuinely committed to the purpose of the institution. In the Tata Group, for instance, Jamshedji Tata was the founder. Then Dorabji Tata was the chairman. Nauroji Saklatwala, J.R.D. Tata, Ratan Tata, Mr. Chandrasekharan, series of chairmen that you have, all of them, all of them have to be genuinely committed to the purpose of the institution. So that is very, very important. At the Tata Group, we are fortunate that each of our chairmen and many generations of leadership, not just the chairman of the Tata Group, but also, the managing directors, the leadership of each of our companies, have all recommitted themselves to the purpose of nation building. This becomes very, very important if purpose is to be kept alive across generations. For any business or educational institution, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver on its purpose, therefore, I have mentioned three things. The purpose needs to be defined, the purpose has to be pursued by your actions, the purpose should be kept alive across generations. But for any business or educational institution to deliver on its purpose, its economic engine also has to create a strong foundation. This is the energy which the flywheel of purpose will use. This is the foundation. For instance, Tata businesses have to be very profitable to enable a steady flow of funds to the Tata Trust, which can then be used for social purposes. While profits or a sustainable business model cannot in itself be a noble purpose, but it is a prerequisite for any purpose that you wish to put in place. And therefore, creating strong organizations with strong economic engines become very important if you have to serve your purpose in a sustainable manner. Only then will the organization live on and flourish. Finally, purpose has to be communicated and owned throughout the organization. Purpose cannot be owned only by the chairman or only by the leadership of the organization. Every employee, every staff member, people like me who work with the Tata Group and all my colleagues who work with the Tata Group, everyone has to connect with purpose. And how can we make this possible? This is a big challenge because sometimes people see purpose as just something which is put up on a poster on the wall. So within the Tata Group, for instance, we use a strong set of rituals to do it. For instance, Founders' Day, the day on which Jamshedji Tata was born, which has always been celebrated as Founders' Day. And on that day, we look back to the purpose why we started us and how can we remain true to that purpose. Induction programs necessarily include this education on the purpose of the Tata Group. We use storytelling to bring alive the purpose. We talk about the story of Tata Steel or the story of the first Indian car or the story of the Tata Nano or the story of the Kalinganagar plant of Tata Steel. We talk about stories within the Tata Group to be able to highlight the purpose in very simple and compelling terms. That is very important. So if I were to look at five lessons, ladies and gentlemen, from the Tata Group, which will help build purpose-driven organizations, it is to define a very clear purpose. That's number one. Second, pursue your purpose through your actions. That's number two. Third, keep your purpose alive across generations through leadership taking the mantle of purpose forward. Fourth, have a strong economic engine which will enable you to deliver on that purpose in a sustained way and enable the sustained prosperity of your institution. Five, ensure that everyone in the organization owns that sense of purpose. So these are, I think, 5 simple lessons that I have learned from the Tata Group on purpose-driven organizations. I want to end this lecture requesting you to reflect on purpose. My belief is that organizations without a clear and genuine sense of purpose really have no soul. They may live and flourish for a few years, but they will wilt away sooner or later. Purpose gives an organization a reason to exist. And without a strong fundamental reason, why will generation after generation keep perpetuating a business? Future generations will find new things to do, and the organization as we know it will no longer exist. Therefore, I think purpose plays a very important role, because when organizations are driven by a strong sense of purpose, they live on for a very long time. And all of us as human beings wish to belong to institutions that are purposeful. Only then does our life get true meaning. That is indeed one of the reasons why I have stayed on with the Tata Group for 38 years now, why so many of my colleagues stay on for a very long period of time. That is why organizations with a sense of purpose will attract and retain talent and will continue to prosper. And that is why purpose really matters. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Yanjay Yasaswy did a lot of good to the academic world when he built an organization with a strong sense of purpose like the ICFAI Foundation. And all of you today are taking that purpose forward. So may I once again, I'm running out of time now, but may I once again pay a very, very fond tribute to Professor N.J. Yasaswy, both as an institution builder and as a teacher and professor, before I end this address. I want to thank all of you for giving me a very, very patient hearing, and I hope each of you will take one or two lessons forward from this brief lecture that I have provided. Thank you very much once again. I thank ICFAI and IBS for inviting me to deliver the Professor N.J. Yasaswy Memorial Lecture today, and I thank all of you for listening to me over the past half an hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your inspiring history with the Tata Group and Thank you, sir, for sharing your inspiring history with the Tata Group and enriching us with your knowledge. We hope to be purpose-driven in life like you. I would now request Professor Rukshin Wajifdar to present a memento on our behalf to Mr. Harish Bhat.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, sir. I think half an hour is too less to listen to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we request you to sign in?
Thank you very much, Professor, for gifting me such a wonderful pen.
Thank
I
you,
will
sir.
write with it with great pleasure.
It's our pleasure, sir. Thank you.
We would now like to open the floor for questions.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are very audible. Thank you.
So good afternoon, sir. My name is Sakshi, and we know that Mr. Ratan Tata has always kept his personal life and professional life very deeply connected to the company, and he's also very inspiring to us. So, sir, we know that nowadays there are many startups coming up. So, how can we as leaders be a part of the company and create a culture where we can have a sense of feeling and a purpose of belonging to the company?
Yeah, so I think very, very good, question. How do you foster a sense of belonging to the company? I think there is one aspect of Mr. Ratan, since you referred to Mr. Ratan Tata's personality. Something that promotes a lot of belonging actually comes from care and compassion. When people feel that their leader cares for them, when people feel that their leader takes care of them, they also feel a strong sense of belonging to the company. And this is not true only of a big company like Tata's. It is true also of any startup. There are startups where the sense of belonging is very high because the leader of that startup actually, gives a lot of time to his employees and makes sure that there's a lot of care and compassion for the employees. So if there is one simple answer I would give you, it is that people-focused behavior, your ability to take people along with you, your ability to care for people, your ability to ensure that people are treated with compassion. I think that is a very, very important aspect of belongingness. On the other hand, if an organizational leader does not care for you, then that sense of belongingness also comes down. And this is true not only of organizations, this is true of families as well. When there's a sense of caring within the family, then the belongingness becomes much more. So that's my simple answer to you. And thank you very much for asking me that question.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible very much.
Hello, sir. My name is Kiran, and my question is that so nowadays there is a constant tension between purpose and profit. So for new agile, upcoming organization, how can they balance their long-term purposes with short-term business pressure without losing either of them?
So that's again a very good question, and it is a challenge. Okay, it's not something which is very easy to do, but I would say this. Your purpose actually defines the direction in which the organization goes. Um, for instance, if your purpose is to contribute to farmers in India or farmers of the country, then the business that you do should be in the area of farming, something which contributes to farmers. It could be, the making of tractors, it could be the making of fertilizers, it could be something else which helps farmers enhance their productivity. It could be, putting up a farmers cooperative, but you certainly cannot go and do something else which does not fulfill their purpose. So purpose gives you a sense of direction in terms of what you want your organization to do. Profits are very important. Profits are very important because unless you make profits, where will you have the money to keep your organization running for the future, to fulfill that sense of purpose? Organizations which are not profitable will fail and they will shut shop within a brief period of time. So in the short term, it is the responsibility of every business owner or business manager to ensure that the business has a good business model which is able to generate profits. And there may be non-profit organizations, but even the non-profit organizations have to break even for their sustainability, even though they may not make large profits. So in the short term, building a robust business model which delivers profits is very important. But you have to do it in the direction of your purpose. If your purpose is already clear, you have to move towards the direction of your purpose. So for instance, with the Tata Group, Tata companies have to be very profitable in a very competitive market, whether it is tea, whether it is jewelry, whether it's watches, whether it's cars, air conditioners. So we have to be very profitable. But at the same time, investing and nurturing businesses which are good for the country are very important because nation building is our purpose. So finding that marriage of a very sustainable business model, but in the direction defined by your purpose, that is where I think the magic lies. So very good question. I am not able to spend more time now explaining it in detail, but if for every business, where this marriage happens becomes a very, very important part.
Answer also.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi and Kiran, for asking such thought-provoking questions. Now, we are honored to announce the launch of Mr. Bhat's latest book titled Doing the Right Thing. It is a proud moment for IBS Pune to witness the digital launch of Mr. Bhat's book. I request Professor Emeritus Colonel Ram Gopal, Director Corporate Relations Professor Soumitra Samadar, Dean and Academic Coordinator Dr. Anupama, Dr. Soumya Mishra and Dr. Jai Singh Bhosle sir to come forward for the physical unveiling of the book.
Should we? They're opening the cow. Yes.
should come a little
Yes, sir.
this way.
Thank you so much. I think they will request you to sign the first.
Otherwise, I'll sign it for you after this is done. Sure. I can sign it. But when I speak, I can.
Yes, yes, that would be lovely.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Would you like me to say a few words about the book?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We would love to hear your words.
So I want to thank IBS for launching this very important book along with today's event. This is a book that I have written over the past year, and it's a book which explores why for Ratan Tata doing the right thing at all times was very important. There are many parts to this book. It explores Ratan Tata's life, how he was custodian of the Tata legacy, how he the name first, how he conducted business with a very ethical frame of mind, how he ensured that being morally correct was as legal compliance, how he was fair to people, the care and compassion that he had for people, the respect that he had for people, how he met every commitment. So it has some very valuable learnings from Mr. Ratan Tata that each of us can take back to our own lives. And for those of you who are interested in learning from a very iconic industrialist like Mr. Ratan Tata, this book is now available on Amazon. You can go there and pre-order it and read it. I'm sure you'll find some very valuable lessons for your own lives. So thank you once again for launching this book at today's event. Thank you for listening to me as I spoke about Professor N.J. Yasaswy. And once again, I would like to say a very respectful thanks to Mrs. Sobarani Nanduri, to Mr. V.R. Shankara, to Dr. R.R. Reddy, Dr. Sudhakar Rao, Professor Jyoti Tilak, Professor Soumya Mishra, and to all members of faculty, staff, and students who are gathered. It's been a pleasure and privilege to speak to all of you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and we hope to read your book soon.
Thank you very much. So if you don't mind, I will go on mute now.
Yes, sir.
Hearty congrats.
Thank you very much, madam. It's a pleasure and privilege to see you once again. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, sir.
And now, it is my privilege to welcome our esteemed guest of honor, Mr. Ashish Sharma, Market Offering Partner at Deloitte. He brings 25 years of experience at the intersection of business, technology, and cybersecurity. He specializes in helping organizations navigate complex digital transformation initiatives with a security-first mindset. Throughout his illustrious career, He has consistently aligned cybersecurity strategies with business objectives. He has enabled secure innovations, operational resilience, and regulatory compliance. Mr. Sharma brings vast expertise across various areas like enterprise security architecture, zero trust implementation, and many more. He has successfully led initiatives across hybrid and multi-cloud environments and secured critical infrastructure. He has also guided organizations in the secure adoption of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and edge computing. What sets him apart is the belief that cybersecurity is not merely about defense, but about enabling trust, business agility, and responsible innovation. Beyond the enterprise, Mr. Sharma is deeply passionate about advancing cybersecurity awareness and resilience at a societal level. He is committed to building a cyber-secure culture that empowers not only businesses but also citizens, communities, and wider digital ecosystems. Through active advocacy and partnerships, he continues to support initiatives like #Cyber Surakshit Bharat, driving inclusive, secure, and impactful technology across the nation. It has been a pleasure introducing Mr. Sharma. I would now request Director, Corporate Relations, Professor Soumitra Samadar, to welcome Sir with a bouquet of flowers. We would love to hear your take on emerging technologies and the future of work. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me well? First of all, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege to come and talk to all of you. More specifically, like to thank Mrs. Sobha Nanduri, Professor Sankara, Dr. R.R. Reddy, all the dignitaries here, and above all the students as well. It's great having this opportunity to talk to each one of you. My topic today is on emerging technologies and future of work. When you talk about future of work, essentially what you're talking about is how am I going to deal with what's coming next? What is going to hit me? What are the things which I need to be ready about? Which are the things which are going to impact me when I work in my next 10 years, my next 15 years, and so forth. If you were to really look at where we stand today, we've always been, every time, and you've heard Mr. Bhat, Harish Bhat, on the whole journey of Tata's, what all things they've come across. One thing that's always been there has been an opportunity, there is a reason for transformation. Lot of times, it is transformation which is actually pushed or given from a point of view of a technology coming into picture. So what I thought was, when I talk today, maybe I'll cover in the time that I would have, roughly 20-25 minutes. Thank you. What I'll cover is some lessons that I've learned in my own professional career, right? Things which, as a technologist, that I feel would be useful, hopefully, to all of you at some point in time in your careers. I will also touch upon some of the technologies which all of us need to be aware of, perhaps also learn and embrace a bit, and maybe a little bit of conversation at the end of it. So, as a technologist and someone who says, what is the future of work? For a technologist, I'll be the first person to say technology is not the solution for most of the transformations. When an organization, you start looking at how do I go serve my clients better, faster, cheaper? More often than not, you look at technology as the starting point. It may be a starting point, and I'm sure in your lives you will come across a lot of instances where you need to be looking at how your organizations want to change for better, transform. Technology would be a starting point, but generally it's not the only thing. You need to understand the process behind. You need to understand the business behind. A lot of time I've heard people come across and say, hey, we are adopting artificial intelligence, we are adopting robotics, we are adopting cloud, we are adopting so many different things, SAP, whatever. But I don't think most of the, there is a stat which says 70-75% of projects which are initiated with the help of technology don't necessarily achieve their outcomes. And one of the biggest reasons is perhaps a lot of time we prioritize technology for technology than technology for business. And hence, I think it is extremely important for all of us to be aware of the fact that when you talk about technology, when you talk about transformation, it is extremely important for you to recognize the transformation is delivered with technology, but with the hand and glove of business. So when you learn your finance, your supply chain, your marketing, you all would come across technology. I can bet that. In the next 5-10 years, there is a lot more of technology than what was in my 5-10-15 years ago. But you'll probably hear a lot more of that, and you will need to sort of understand, maybe embrace it, and really go forward with it. Everyone has seen this movie Top Gun? Everyone? There's a dialogue there, right? It says, it's the man, not the machine. I don't think the writer there or the actor there would have thought of how much true is it for the corporate world also. The machine is important, but how do you drive the man? Who drives the machine, and how do you drive that machine? That is going to be critical. And hence, I sort of re-emphasize the fact that it was going to be very important when you go out in your organizations 5 years, 10 years, you will be made responsible for a lot of these initiatives. Please make sure that you start with end in mind. Please make sure that you understand what business are you doing, why are you doing it. Because when you know the what and the why, then yes, technology can do what it needs to be do. But as a technologist, I realized a lot of time we sort of got off track when we started only with the hype of technology. Then it could be anything. It could be artificial intelligence, and I know I'm supposed to speak a little bit about that, so I'll come to that. But it is important for all of us to understand. Last thing, I think it is also important for you to recognize, and I was talking to one of your colleagues, said I'm someone who's coming, let's say, from a finance organization, and I like doing a little bit of work in taxation or one of the businesses. He's probably joining Deloitte, so I'm happy with that. But then I also heard another statement saying a number of people may not necessarily like jumping into technology a lot of time. My sense is you don't have a choice. You necessarily need to be a technology person and let's say a finance person, or maybe a finance person but with good understanding of technology. If you really look at all the different organizations, good organizations, a number of organizations, someone asked about a fintech, there was a question about fintech. None of those organizations are actually pure play finance, supply chain, those kind of organizations. Those are tech. There is a tech there. There is a tech in a MarTech. There is a tech in an agri-tech. There is a lot of tech everywhere. As soon as we can embrace it.
What is the identity? And speech again. Huh? Question answer session.
Sorry, yes, question answers.
That's also tech, by the way. The man has to control it, otherwise, obviously, it becomes. All right. So let's get to the core of the topic. I was just trying to see, there are a few things which I feel will be useful for all of us. But when you talk about tech, which are the 2-3 technologies which have been the most important technologies in the last 4-5 years, 10 years maybe, and going next another 15-20 years? Any guesses? AI, because I've already told that we'll talk about it. So we'll keep AI for a moment. What else? There are a number of these. So I'm sure every one of us understands. See, I personally feel, and there is something that you would, maybe you may find it useful. When it comes to technology, if you have a graph where the y-axis is the importance, relevance, and x-axis is the timeline, for any technology, there are 4 things which are important. One is the development of technology. Generally, the development comes in first. Then follows what? Commercialization. Right? Then follows what? Adoption. Right? You've got a technology, you've got a commercial application of it, right? And then what you have is the adoption. And after that, a lot of time, what comes is regulation. These 4 things will generally be there for every key technology which is operating around. You can pretty much make a decision to even adopt one of these areas to say, I would specialize in AI. Because I think all of these 4 parts of the graph are going in the right direction. So if you look at some of those technologies which have cut across and been proven right, all the trajectories have been there. I would say first, and something which all of us in one way or the other has come across, is IoT. Right? It said roughly there are about...
Recording stopped.
It's technology again. There are about 15 odd billion IoT devices across the globe. Another 5 years, it will double or maybe go 3 times. There is absolutely no way that you can skip any of these. It is there helping you move your products faster. It is there helping you do a lot more activity on your production flow. When you combine it with telecom innovations, then you suddenly realize that mobility and automation and IoT become a super combination. There are tons of those areas. So if someone within this group, within all of you, has a career which is in and around IoT as a technology, or what is called as operational technology, OT, I think this is a good technology to invest in. Invest your careers. What is currently the fad is AI. Everyone, I see some smiles there, AI, building careers. If you really look at it, AI started roughly in 1950s. Agree? Everyone has read that. I'm sure everyone knows that. The models, what will lead to what is called AI today, Gen AI, Agentic AI, it all started somewhere in 50s. the technology was not supporting it for it to really become relevant and expressive as it is today. I'll come a little more and talk about a few things which are happening more around. But if you really look at the way AI is actually impacting the kind of work we do, a very common pointer there is it may take away some jobs. And I think we'll talk about it, right? But another point, which is there's always a pros and a cons of everything that we do. AI, from the point of view of what are the pros, I mean, look at what kind of different applications AI, it can help drug discovery a lot faster. Don't you think when we all dealt with COVID, there's a lot of AI that went into actually getting the right combination and the right molecule much faster. I've been part of some who are my clients, who have been part of developing that vaccine that all of us or our family members have used. Generally, it takes about 1 million combinations to come closer to what would be the final vial, which will then be produced across the globe. Now, how do you get to 1 million, from 1 million to that last one, or the last few, which then gets into clinical trials? There's a lot more of AI jumping in there. There's a lot more of data jumping in there. A lot of analytics. China already have those quantum computers, right? I'm a cyber guy, so I can talk in length about what's happening in the cyber world, but I can just be very open to you that this is an area which will build up. This is an area which will have a lot of ramifications. And the fact that the government and the regulators are already starting to build a point of view, my sense is it's already seen as something which will have an impact. Now, quantum can be seen in a manner where it may pose a threat to critical infrastructure, to the cyber world. But on the other hand, quantum would also be very helpful in managing some complex areas like weather forecasting, drug discovery, right? Dealing with supply chain issues or supply chain problems. I mean, there'll be so many things that you could do much more. Maybe understand the universe as overall also a lot better and faster in your own lifetime. So a lot of things are expected to be. So that's probably another area. I don't think it will impact a lot of us who've already done more years in the profession already. But to a lot of you who are sitting on the row number 3 and onwards, my sense is all of you should know a little more of this. This will definitely be something. I'm not saying, sir, that we don't need to learn, but I believe those guys will get impacted a little more. So, if I were to look at what are the technologies, as I said, IoT, OT, important. AI, critical. But when it comes to quantum, yet to be known. But one technology that you want to understand and pursue and look at what may happen, try looking at quantum. How much time would I have? Another 5 minutes? 10 minutes? All right. Mr. Jaising actually told me you don't need to carry slides. He didn't know that if you don't give a slide to a consultant, then he can take as much time that he wants. So I'll try to restrict myself. I'll talk a little bit more about AI. If you look at India has already given out or defined its what is called as National AI Mission. Please, each one of you, go and read that. Because what it is talking about is how India is going to be using AI. What are the guardrails to be defined, right? Because we all know it will be used and it can be used in every kind of an organization. But there's got to be a guardrail, right? There's got to be a method on how you want to use, and you want to make sure that AI should not start giving information or responses which are not relevant to you. In fact, Today, if the number of examples, when you start looking through some of the reels, right? Everyone watches reels, right? If I ask to raise hands, I'm sure everyone is going to raise hand. You are very aware that when you start looking at a certain kind of reels, the AI engine algorithm will start giving you more and more of that. It's learning about you, the amount of time you're spending, the number of clicks that you have, what is the length of that reel that you've watched, that decides what is the interest level. And all this information they're capturing from you, right? If this was about dealing with patients, if this was about actual patient care or things which are more serious, it is extremely important that you're able to make sure that what comes out is defined in the manner that it doesn't start giving you wrong outputs. An algorithm is simple, it has weightages, and it keeps learning based on responses that you give. If someone, or if there is an algorithm which is actually giving or deviating by a certain small fraction every time that it is called to respond, over a period of time, it will actually start giving wrong responses. Simple example, everyone is I mean, most of you have seen cricket. You have the DRS system. What does it do? It looks at the trajectory of the ball. Every time that ball hits the same trajectory, same length of the pitch, and it goes a certain manner. Now imagine if it starts deviating by just a millimeter every time. By the next season, it will start telling that this person is not out because it's not hitting the wickets. Those biases will start creeping in, right? There is a lot of, why I'm getting into all this, because at a national level, it is understood that there is going to be a usage of it, but people should know how to use it. It can't be without its checks and balances. And hence, for you to read the National AI Mission, which also, by the way, gives what is called as Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture. There is what is called as AI Ethics Guidelines. In my mind, whether you're a finance person, supply chain person, marketing person, HR person, whatever person you are, if you want to understand what you are getting into, please try to learn a little bit more of some of these things that I'm touching upon. I think it will be very useful, not because you may be the one who's coding it, but at some point in time, you would definitely be required to take some decisions about whether or not is it the right solution for us, for your organization. It's important for you to understand that. Another example, and I'll quickly move on. You heard Prime Minister Modi when he was talking in Paris on that AI summit, right? He gave a very beautiful example. It's difficult to find such simple, clear example. He said, if I ask to write a picture of someone writing it, right? More often than not, or 99% of the time, you'll actually find someone, the hand which is shown is a right hand, not a left hand. Population has both, so why is it right? That's the bias. Very simple, clear, right? You want to make sure that you know enough of what this technology is so that you do not agree to biases which could creep into this system. Small part of it, there are multiple other things that one needs to look at, but I think if the government is clear that they want to go defining means and methods and checks and balances, I think it is really important for all of us to be aware of it and where it is going. Coming to the myth, I think we touched upon the fact that a lot of time we have realized it's never been a case that a new technology comes and people in their profession feel it's only going to be a pro, it's only going to be useful. There'll always be pros and cons. But is that fair to say? that that AI comes and it will result into job losses, or jobs may not be very clear. It may create a little bit of a problem. Whatever technology be it. I mean, today we know there is a drone technology which is now obviously becoming much more clear in terms of its application. Will that result into removing all your point-to-point short delivery businesses? Probably not. You had a 2-minute Maggi noodle came, very simple example, but it did stop all the other street food? It never did. I think the learning is in adapting to it, embracing it, and be strong enough to be able to use it. Make it a part of your armory. So, I know I've taken a lot of time, but if I can request each one of you, I think it makes a lot of sense, and this is more as a technology person that I say, I think it makes a lot of sense while you are in your first year, second years, try to pick some level of some ability around coding itself. Each one of you should know. I'm assuming some part of it you already learned, so great, but each one of you, be a finance person or whichever stream you are, you should know to create your own algorithm. You should know how to get some of those pieces all by yourself. I think this would be very useful for you. If you look at each one of us follows cricket, right? There is a simple analogy which I feel when someone says, will it result into me losing my job? A Sachin Tendulkar batted for 24 years, right? And we saw him batting for 24 years. Every time he went to bat, there was something which was prepared against him. But a Sachin Tendulkar was a Sachin Tendulkar because he knew how to adapt. He knew now what kind of a challenge am I going to be facing. As professionals, you would need to adapt, whatever be the technology. The future of work is bright if you know how to adapt to it, if you embrace it. Thank you for your time. Thanks once again, opportunity to speak to all of you. Mrs. Shobha Nanduri, thank you, ma'am. Professor Sankara, Dr. Reddy, Colonel Ral Gopal, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Professor Thakur, thank you very much. That's right.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful words, which will act as a guiding light for our future, especially about AI and IoT and quantum computing. And I'm sure we will definitely read more on the AI National Plan. As we near the conclusion of this memorable event, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guests. I request Professor Emeritus Colonel Ram Gopal to kindly present a memento to our guest of honor, Mr. Ashish Sharma. Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Dr. Anupama to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. It's my privilege because to deliver a vote of thanks on this actually a solemn and inspiring occasion. The Founders Memorial Lecture held in the remembrance of a beloved founder, Shri late N.J. Yasaswy. Today we gathered not just to commemorate a visionary leader, but celebrate a life dedicated to education, ethics, and excellence. Sri Yasaswy was more than an institutional builder. He was a teacher, a reformer, and a pioneer who has transformed higher education in India through his courage, intellect, and conviction. His vision of creating world-class business schools that emphasize merit, integrity, and professionalism continues to guide us every single day. I extend my deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Harish Bhat, for gracing this event with his presence. Sir, your inspiring stories of Tata's to the key lessons from defining the purpose and the purpose pursued through actions, and the purpose should be kept alive through generations, and every purpose through strong economic engines it can be delivered, and even every employee who owns through sense of purpose. And your words of this leadership, purpose, and values perfectly resonate with the ideas of our founders stood for. We're deeply honored that you have chose this occasion to unveil your book. It is indeed a proud and pride moment for all of us. A message truly echoes the spirit of our founders' philosophy. My sincere thanks to the guest of honor, Mr. Ashish Sharma. Sir, your valuable insights on the technology to the applications of AI, innovation, and business transformations have provided our students with a fresh and perspective how this corporate world is evolving and how they can prepare themselves to the future-ready leaders. A sincere thanks to Srimati Shobha Rani Yasaswy, Chairperson ICFAI Society, Shri V.R. Shankara, Dr. R.R. Reddy, Mr. Sudhakar Rao, and other dignitaries who joined online with their gracious presence and encouragement. I also wish to thank our distinguished faculty members, staff, and students for making this event memorable. A special word of appreciation goes to our organizing committee led by Jay Singh, Dr. Soumya Mishra, and all other members of staff who tireless efforts behind these scenes made this program seamless and remarkable. Lastly, to our students, definitely you are the essence of IBS. I hope today's interaction inspires you to think beyond success and focus on doing the right things as our speaker so eloquently reminded us. Let us carry forward the inspiration, values, and vision shared today into our daily learnings and journeys. Thank you all once again for being part of this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
Dear students, kindly remain seated until the dignitaries have exited the venue.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining in. We have now closed the program. Thank you very much for your time, all the dignitaries. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much. Thank you.